A very good morning. Thank you, Dr. BRC and AIOC, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this IC. So I'll be talking about the FECO machines, their major features, and I'll be restricting my talk to the major players in the market currently. And I have no financial interests in any of the products mentioned. So I'll be starting with the Alcon machines. We have the Laureate as a lower-end machine from Alcon. It has a peristaltic pump, gravitational infusion, and we can use the Laureate or the Infiniti handpiece with it. It has the standard longitudinal power with hyperpulse and burst modes. It has optical vacuum sensor, and it's a relatively portable machine. Coming to the Infiniti, one of the most used machines probably in the ophthalmic community in India. We know it has a peristaltic pump and a gravitational infusion, and it has this trademarked Oertli torsional power, and the torsional power helps in increasing followability, and the energy is utilized in the entire cycle of the tip movement and not only in the forward movement of the tip. It also added the feature of intelligent FECO later on with the Oertli, and it keeps the lens material in the shearing plane for emulsification and thus reducing chattering. It offers the hyperpulse and the burst modes for both the torsional and the longitudinal FECO settings, and it has the FMS, the Intrepid Fluid Management System, where, as Dr. BRC had mentioned, it has rigid tubings and a higher rate of vacuum sensing, which reduces post-occlusion surge. Coming to the latest from the Alcon, we have the Centurion. The key feature is it has a pressurized infusion for IOP control, and it has a peristaltic pump. It has active fluidics, that is, it stabilizes chamber by maintaining IOP during aspiration rate fluctuation. And we can see that it has dual pressure sensors both in the irrigation and the aspiration line, which helps in maintaining the target IOP. Now, it is recommended that we should use the balance tip with the with the Centurion machine, and the balance tip has an extra bend, as we can see, as compared to the Kelman, and that is supposed to increase the movement at the tip itself and reduce movement of the shaft, thus reducing heat generation at the wound. And an additional feature of Centurion is the user interface allows separate control of both the vacuum and the flow rate in both foot position 2 and foot position 3 separately. Now coming to Johnson & Johnson Vision, which was previously known as Abbott, and it has recently launched the Intuitiv version of compact, and this has the peristaltic pump. They have what they call the proactive IOP management with automatic occlusion sensing, and it has, as we know, the Ellipse FX handpiece, which has a transversal movement in addition to the longitudinal movement, which they say increases the power utilization efficiency and reduces heat generation at the incision. The higher end machine from Johnson & Johnson is the Whitestar Signature Pro, and it has a combination of both the peristaltic and the Venturi, and it has also the combination pump. It has the proactive IOP management with automatic occlusion sensing and the Ellipse FX handpiece. So this is the working interface of the Signature Pro. The peristaltic, they say, is, as we know, helps in holdability and intraoperative control, and the Venturi allows followability and improve efficiency. And what they recommend is on-demand transition while we go into the various steps of the FECO so that we have efficiency at every step. They have their trademark power modulation called ICE, in which there is an initial kick in the power pulse configuration, and they say that improves the power efficiency of the machine. They have two fluidic settings or fluidic modification. One is called the occlusion mode FECO, and the other is called case. In occlusion mode FECO, the flow rate and the power settings can be preset for both before occlusion and after occlusion. And for case, what's also called the chamber stabilization environment, what happens is during occlusion, when the preset vacuum is reached for a certain period of time, the vacuum goes back to a predefined level. And when the occlusion is cleared, then the vacuum goes back to the preset level as set by the surgeon. And occlusion mode and case can both work independently or they can be used together, and which they call as fusion fluidics. Then coming to the Bausch & Lomb machine, the Stellaris, which allows us to operate with 1.8 millimeter incisions, and it has the vacuum pump. They have what is called a stable chamber tubing, which allows increase of vacuum while reducing flow, and they have the attune handpiece, as they call it, with advanced waveform modulation, providing faster cutting rate and optimizing cutting and cavitation and reducing energy delivery in the anterior chamber. They also have this zero phaco handpiece with 30-degree tip for femtosecond phaco. The key feature of Bausch & Lomb is probably the double linear foot switch, which provides independent control of power and aspiration. With the vertical movement of the foot switch, we can you can apply power or the vacuum, and with the horizontal movement of the foot switch, we can use the other one. Bausch & Lomb has also come up with the Stellaris Ellite, sorry for the spelling mistake, and that is it has what is called the adaptive fluidics, which monitors the vacuum and the flow rate continuously. It also has something called DigiFlow, or the dynamic infusion compensation, something like active fluidics from Alcon, from Centurion, and it adjusts the infusion pressure accordingly. Coming to the Oertli basket, it has the Catarhex 3, the lower end machine. It has a peristaltic pump, and its USP is its portability. It can be attached to the IV pole. It does not require any floor space, and the machine and the foot switch easily fits into one single carry case. It has what is called an embedded technology, not dependent on the PC software, so there is almost a complete elimination of risk of software malfunction. Another key feature of Catarhex 3 and the other higher end machine from Oertli is the easy phaco. That is, it has a wide irrigation path, high vacuum, a capillary flow right at the point where the aspiration line starts, which avoids clogging and prevents surge down the aspiration flow line. And it has the actually directed phaco concentrated to the material held by the phaco tip. It also has what is called the occlusion mode phaco, and it has a pneumatic anterior vitrectomy. It also has an additional features of radio frequency capsulotomy and an HFDS, as they call it, for deep sclerectomy. Faros is an intermediate machine from Oertli, and probably its key feature is the foot switch, which allows additional controls of the IV pole height and others. Then we have the OS4, and which is called the high definition dynamic, which has the high definition dynamic direct control of the various parameters. It has a combination of venturi and peristaltic pump, and the infusion can be gravity based or gas pressure based. Coming to the indigenous machines from Appasamy Associates, and I strongly believe their contribution to Indian ophthalmology is always underestimated. They have the Prince, which is a portable and a peristaltic machine. They have the Galaxy Pro P, which is a peristaltic machine, and they have a Galaxy Pro V, which has a venturi pump. Now coming to the most important slide, the market share according to the units sold in the Indian market, the national market, and this is a personal communication. And interestingly, this personal communication is from a person who was or has recently quit from the senior management position of Alcon, and I think the figures are relatively unbiased. So we see that the entry-level machines occupy almost 50% of the market, and only 10% of the market is occupied by the premium level machines, which are costing more than 40 lakhs. Thank you so much for your kind attention.